Hi, everybody. It's Craig and Arun back with your College Hoops Happy Martin Luther King Day. So if you're off today, we're going to have some early games so you can get some extra betting in before the national championship game tonight for the big card in the NBA tonight. So people always say, hey, how do I get on IC and Craig? What do they like the best? And so we went to our boss and said, hey, let's get some deals for these guys that are loyal listeners. And so we got this for you. You can get a 2-for-1 pass. It can either be for football, the NBA, or college basketball, or you can buy multiple sports. It's just $99 per week, and you get us both. It's usually $99 for one of us. So for that, you get 50% off. The only way to find it, docsports.com/CraigAroon, as it is on the screen. The link is also in the description, so you can either type it in or click it and get in on it. But we've got 6 games for you here. There's a couple good games, I think, later, but I think there's some opportunities to take advantage of some lines, and that's what we're here to do. Drexel versus Towson, the first game to look at. Towson's favored by 6, total of 125.5, if I can read my writing. What do you like here, IC?
So I love college basketball, and I love these schools that are – this is how I made my bread and butter for a long time. So – and Craig finds values. If Craig gives you – a game somewhere in Ohio, Miami, Miami of Ohio in the Midwest, listen, like Drexel, Bradley, Drake, listen, you know what I mean? So Drexel's different because it's in Pennsylvania, but Bradley, Indiana State, you know what I mean? Northern Iowa, those kind of schools. But yeah, I mean, Craig's having a great run in the NBA and college basketball. I'm up like 8,000 in NBA plus 7,000 in college basketball. So you got to jump on our 2-for-1 package. Trust me, it'll be worth it. All right, man, look, Drexel, 9-10, okay, facing a 10-9 team here. It's an interesting game simply because you have Drexel that won 82-76 last time out. And they've won this game the last 4 times, okay? So now the question is, can Towson step up here? Towson is a better team this year than years past. And obviously Drexel is located in the state of Pennsylvania. It's located in Philadelphia, right? So they're coached by Zach Spiker. Zach Spiker has been there since 2017. They're an 18-win, 20-win team. This team comes off 3 straight wins here against Stony Brook, William & Mary, and Monmouth. And, what's interesting is the best win for this squad was probably, I would say, their win against Old Dominion and William & Mary. But this team also got their snot beat out of them by Penn early this year by 18, and Penn's a top 200 team. And then you have a Towson team that's coached by a longtime coach, Pat Scarry, who's been there since 2012. This team went 22-11 last year, 20-14 the year before. This team's good. They were 25 wins about 4 years ago. They had a nice win against Charleston recently by 9 at home. And I would say that, this team beat Liberty as well by 3. They have the bigger quality win here. They also have a top 100 defense. So can Towson really step up against Drexel? Yeah, I think so. They're minus 6-point favorite. I know that seems a little scary to lay it, but I think Charleston's a better team than Drexel. Right? And they beat them. Charleston is a top 170 offense, top 200 defense. Drexel is outside the top 250 in offense. And Drexel is a decent defensive team. But, with Towson only scoring 61 points in their last game, a game where, they were up 34-17 on a pretty good team. And I think there's more left in the tank. Towson only shot 4 for 26 from three-point land. I'm not going to think about it too much, Craig. I'm taking Towson minus the 6 here.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on all the great content we have here at Doc Sports.
All right, Craig, the next game is going to be the Iona game, the game where Rick Pitino left the squad, but they're still 12-7, and St. Peter's, where Shaheen Holloway used to coach, right? Now they're 10-6. Like here, as St. Peter's comes in as a minus 3.5-point favorite, 145 total.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. When you see a record disparity, when you see a team that has more wins, but that isn't favored. Usually it's in small conferences like this because it's kind of like, where did you challenge yourself outside of conference? So you might have more wins because you didn't play as good of teams. St. Peter's challenges. They played Georgetown and lost by 8 early in the year, and they've been playing really good. You referred to that. It was like 4-5 or 5-6. They've both won and covered, and they're facing an Iona team that's lost 3 of their last 4 road games. A couple as favorites, so it's and sizable favorites. I think St. Peter's in a day game, this is a 2:00 game, takes care of business. Give me St. Peter's. I see some 3s out there, but more 3.5, so we'll call it 3.5. Next game, St. Joe's at VCU. VCU favored by 1.5, total 152.5. And for anybody that's been betting basketball for the last 2 decades, I mean, about kind of VCU. it's plug and play. Every time a new coach comes in, it's like this is the new coach that ends up being a hot commodity. Maybe Anthony Grant was one of them, ended up in Alabama, even got promoted pretty quickly, and now he's at Dayton. So it happens. VCU is small favorite here. What do you like?
VCU has won. When we made that Gentleman's Club comment about Toronto, there was a lot of comments. VCU has won 8 in a row in this contest before, by the way. St. Joseph's rolls in here. It's funny that why this total is the way that it is. But St. Joseph's is coached by Steve Donahue. First year there, he came over from Penn. They beat Duquesne and Richmond and St. Bonaventure. They're playing really well. They're top 120 defense. I was impressed with their win against Temple as well. I mean, for a team that's 11-7 to be laying this many points is a little surprising because they've had some good outings. So you might wonder, well, why is VCU such a heavy favorite? Why are they? And that's because, they lost their last home game to St. Louis. That could be why. They lost 71-62. This is a team that beat Vatech, who's a very good team, by 18 on neutral footing. It's a team that only lost to Vandy, who was undefeated for quite a long time, by 15. They beat South Florida by 12, so that's impressive. They're 3-2 in conference play. They really need to win big. They only lost to NC State by 6. They're coached by Phil Martelli Jr., who came over from Bryant, and maybe he's getting them to play their best games by now. This is a team that did beat Rhode Island, obviously, and they were up big on Rhode Island, 40-30 at the half, and they never really looked back. I was really impressed, and Rhode Island is a pretty good team. They shot 64% from the field, and they thumped Rhode Island. St. Joseph's, at the end of the day, did lose to St. Louis, 102-79, so they can get beat. They lost to a bad Coastal Carolina team as well. I think VCU puts the stomp, man. I don't see VCU losing back-to-back home games, and I think VCU probably wins by a wide margin. They're top 50 in offense, top 80 in defense. St. Joseph is outside the top 240 in offense. This is the reason why we try to explain the line to you, so you might wonder, why is this like this? We try to do our best to explain it. I think that's the reason why this line is the way that it is. So it is a 3-point dog here against George Mason, who is 17-1. 12-6 team facing a 17-1 team here. George Mason has won 4 in a row. Line sits at only -3. Are you surprised? Who do you like here?
Yeah, obviously this is alarm bells should be like a 5-alarm fire. When you see a team that's this good as far as record wise, you have one loss at this point.
It's a true road game too,
right? And it's like, why is this not? You would think naturally you're getting 3 for your home, maybe be 6-7 points, and it's 3. Even there's some 2.5s out there. I mean, I'm staying away from the side in this game. I'm just saying, George watches live under. I watched the entire game against Dayton. I had Dayton that game. Dayton was banged up, and Dayton's very good. Got the win. But this line just scares me so much. I'm looking at a total in this game. I think you play the under here. I think it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out game. Last time, George Washington lost at Davidson, and they do like to play up-tempo. But George Mason, if they get an up-tempo game, I think they'll lose. I think they know that. I think they play back to where they did like 3 and 4 games back. They're going to play much more methodical. Take the under 154.5. If it gets up and down, I do think George Washington will win. 2 games left. Providence at Marquette. Marquette favored by -1.5, total of 166. This is the worst team we've seen Shaka Smart have since the VCU days. That's when we all fell in love with Shaka Smart. We made that run to the Final Four. Of course, he's done it at multiple places, including Texas and now Marquette. But this year's they're just not very good. Is Providence a live underdog here? I see Marquette -1.5.
Well, yeah, I mean, we cover these games every day, which has made us quite good in our handicapping. And Marquette, I feel like the record is not there, but there is an uptick, okay? And it's very slow, but there is an uptick. He is getting through to his team slowly. Look, but the problem for Marquette is they beat them 82-52 last time. So, Providence is going to come in motivated, so that's an issue for them. And Marquette is favored here as this is one of those teams that's, if they can play well close to the tourney time, maybe they can make a run, right? Providence is coached by Kim English, who had a 12-20 year last year. He really needs a good year. They did beat Creighton at home. Lost to Villanova, Xavier, in Connecticut. Top 35 offense. Pretty senior-laden team, and I think Kim English has sort of hit his high spot here. I'll give him credit. They did beat St. John's on the road, and they did almost beat Connecticut at home. So he's got that going for him. Marquette, though, I thought played pretty well against DePaul. I was impressed with how they played against DePaul. They were up in that game. I think it was 44-36, and then they kind of gave that contest a little bit. They're coming back home here. They lost badly to St. John. They lost to Villanova. They did beat Xavier at home. But this is a tough contest, man. I mean, I can't really take them because they haven't been able to seal the deal, if you will. So if you want to take them on the money line, I don't know. Can they seal the deal? That's the problem. The only wins are against Valpo. Their best win against Xavier. They're 1-7 in conference play. They beat Valpo, who's top 165. They beat Central Michigan, who's top 330. And the other teams are outside the top 250. So it's not impressive. But I love the total. I saw it at 166, and I was like, yeah, because it makes sense. You get a team here who's getting better on offense, who put up 75 on DePaul. You get Providence rolling in, coming off a nice win against Creighton, putting up 93 against Creighton, top 35 offense. Give me the over between Marquette and Providence. All right, Craig, we're going to finish this off with Montana. This is a game that I requested, right? Montana, Northern Arizona. Is that what you have?
Yep.
Yes. So I requested this game. Montana here, 9-9. I like the Grizzlies here as they face Northern Arizona, who is 6-13. This is my ode to Yellowstone, right? Because I love the Yellowstone series. Montana comes in beating this team 78-84 back on January 1st. They've won this game the last 6 straight times. Northern Arizona rolls in, having lost 6 in a row, but they covered against Portland State, 52-63. Montana comes in losing 67-76 against rival Montana State, but they had covered 4 in a row coming in. So we're getting Montana as a 4.5-point chalk on the road on a total of 143.5. Who do you like?
Usually when it's a revenge, and this is a pretty quick revenge, so we're like 2.5 weeks out, a little about. I give it even more. The longer if it was 2 months ago, I think there's so much in between that you just maybe don't see that revenge payoff. But when it's so close, usually I'm trying to find a way to bet the team that's 1 an underdog usually, and 2 that lost, and it wasn't really close the last time if you look at the stats. But Montana coming off that loss at Montana State, I think that one hurt, and I think they're going to be super motivated. Northern Arizona is just not very good. That's a problem. You still have to. It's like you have revenge. You still have to be a good team to win and keep it close. I just don't think they're very good, so I'm going to take Montana minus the 4.5. Won't be a huge play for me. I like some of these other games better, and including a top play in the NBA tonight. And how can you get in on them, you say? How? I'll tell you how. DocSports.com/Craig Arun. You got both of our plays for tonight in the NBA. So you have 1 each, and you'll get 6 more days of winter. So a total of 7 days for just $99. That's 50% off at this link right here, DocSports.com/Craig Arun. Link is also in the description.